Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Don't want to spend the entire video just talking about that though, because we've actually seen this for a very long time already. All these theories about just kind of upping Ethereum and putting down XRP for the reasons of the Howey test, and we've described a dozen times before how it just doesn't work. You can definitely say that Ethereum in some ways is less reliant on the foundation than XRP is in terms of how broad the developer community is on top of there. That's something you can definitely say. But, and this is a key, XRP is still decentralized. XRP never had a crowdfund, never had a sale in the way that ETH had it. And so if you go down the rabbit hole, you're going to find a lot of negative points with Ethereum as well that they failed to bring up, or that they never, whoever did you see say, you know what, ETH is actually a security, or at least it was a security, now it isn't anymore, and never do it like that. They're only saying, no, ETH is fine. XRP, however, it's like you just want to fault the blame somewhere else because you're too afraid to accept the consequences of whatever you've done. That's really what it feels like, to be honest with you. However, let's look at a couple of interesting things. So this is something I asked you guys over on Twitter today, and I want to also kind of ask it here over on YouTube. If you are an XRP holder, make sure you press that like button. Let's get this video to 1,000 likes because I want to kind of check out if we can do that. Not sure, but why not try, you know? Why not? And I want to know, do you guys believe that the XRP price could go to $10,000 per coin? I've described a couple of times before why I think it could, or why I think it could never. Same thing for the $35,000 thing. I honestly think the only way in which it could happen is kind of like we're seeing with the Russian ruble right now, where it just completely devalues. The money just becomes pretty much worthless, or at least a fraction of what it is worth today. And so in terms of purchasing power, it might not be that crazy, but it would just be, for example, that $100, it has the same purchasing power as then $10,000 basically. If that were to be the case, I think it would be definitely feasible. But if we're talking about purchasing power of $10,000 today per one token, I think it's rather a small chance because I'm not exactly sure what would necessitate for it to be there. Hypothetically speaking, if it were to become the world's reserve currency or whatnot, even then, this buyback of $35,000 I told you guys is biased, it's fake, it's not something you should hold your hopes onto. And is this something you should basically want to get to? Well, why would you? At the end of the day, guys, it's all about how much is an XRP worth in terms of purchasing power. And if we go to 10,000, I don't think it's really measurable because the system will be really different for that to happen. Again, just my thoughts though, right? So if we're talking about a world where XRP is one of the main currencies, then to be honest with you, the dollar valuation I don't think matters too much, as the main center of it all will be some cryptocurrency that's most likely not yet built. And this is a key. I honestly think there will be a crypto that's going to be bigger than XRP, but it's just not built yet. We don't know who's going to build it. Why am I saying that? Well, because every single year there's a new big cryptocurrency popping up, and at the end of the day, we keep seeing them develop at crazy speeds where the old ones, they're just too outdated to basically keep up with the newer systems. It's like saying Google's going to be around forever. No, most likely not. Most likely, and that's what I'm thinking, a Web3 sort of company will actually take over if Google doesn't adapt quickly enough. And that's the problem with these old-fashioned or legacy systems or companies. A lot of them just like the market participation that they have right now, like the position that they're in, and they would rather just keep it the way it is rather than emancipate, go crazy, and start developing, because you might risk losing something, you might risk losing money, even though they are always researching, of course. But a lot of these newer companies don't have that same risk profile because they don't have that much to lose, and so they have way more to gain, which is also why we make a lot of these other bets basically on these cheaper altcoins, because they have really a lot more potential to pop off rather than some of the coins which are already established. But XRP is kind of like a counterexample of that, because I honestly believe out of 2022, XRP is the best altcoin to buy. And then I'm saying with my full... with the just like that, I am saying it to the core of my being that I think XRP is the best currency in 2022 which is largely based upon the lawsuit though. So if we're talking about 10K, I think it's feasible, it's possible, but the system will be so significantly different. And so in terms of the way it's going now, I don't think it could be valued in 10,000 US dollars the way we know it now, but that maybe is because I just don't understand why it would ever get there. It's the same thing as saying, in my opinion, Bitcoin is going to go to $1 billion a piece. Theoretically speaking, possible. I just don't really see any way in which with the current valuation of that, it makes sense. However, maybe in a decade or two, everything's going to be different. Now, maybe the entire world will be different. It's definitely possible. So never say never, but there's nothing I can see that's going to make that happen as quickly as I would like it to be, you know? All right, then I've been scouting Empower US. If you guys remember, Empower US, what they've basically done is they went in against the SEC and said, hey, we think you're doing some stuff very shady. Give us your emails. Let us see through. Let us see if you're not doing something against what you should be doing, basically. If there's some conflict of interest or some trouble in paradise, so to speak. And so apparently a little while ago, about a week ago, they said the SEC released emails to empower oversight in crypto conflicts lawsuit, still searching for more. And that's again something that just keeps being brought up, more and more emails every now and then. I noticed I could actually also put the screen like this. Maybe that's better. I'm not exactly sure what is nicer. It's also crazy how there's like orange light or so. Funny. All right, so what I wanted to talk about there is the phone. We're doing good. All right, so what I want to talk about here is the fact that there's more and more emails getting released every single time. I'm not exactly sure when I should say about that. And they're all relating to the SEC's conflict of interest. So every single time they come out, which I think crypto law is going to share, there's another chance there's going to be some sort of banger that's going to showcase to us that they've been doing some stuff wrong. Because remember, guys, they are not trying to send out these emails. They're lacking in that. And John Deaton even posted up quite recently here that he thinks that the SEC is still withholding a lot of emails. Take a look at this. If not already, you should follow the accounts. My team at Crypto Law is shifting through the 1,200 emails between Hinman and Simpson Thatcher, which again are the law firms, right, which we talked about yesterday. Hinman is the Director of Corporation Finance at the SEC. Simpson Thatcher is the law firm we talked about yesterday. And we're finding a few interesting things. As usual, the SEC appears to have not produced everything. And so they're all on crypto law, at least the emails right now. They're starting to get on there, and we're trying to find the links in there. So if you have nothing to do, or if you find this interesting, you might want to kind of dive in that. It's definitely a fun thing to watch and check out. Then, whatever judge rules, the SEC is already dead. Lawyer predicts Ripple lawsuit outcome. This is also something I shared with y'all yesterday, but you gotta remember, I honestly think, and this is not financial or legal advice, that Ripple has won, period. You know, I don't see any way in which the SEC can recoup and get the victory out of this. I should say quickly, I do think there's a chance that the SEC will come out as a victor, theoretically speaking, meaning Ripple has to pay a settlement, they've lost the lawsuit, but XP turns out to be a non-security. I can't fathom any scenario in which that wouldn't be the case. And now, I've started to see more articles that talk about, for example, this. SEC lawsuit against Ripple could end in settlement by April 2022. One of the reasons that this could happen, guys, and you gotta remember as well, is the fact that they already went for settlement discussion. And all they said right now is we want some judge to be in the middle and kind of mediate us through our settlement talk. But the fact that they've already gone through it, and the fact, and remember this carefully, that they knew already they couldn't come to a conclusion together, but the judge who's going to mediate everything has read all the emails, and this is going to happen rather soon. Once the judge makes some decisions on the current outgoing motions and discussions, I honestly think they might go back to this mediation, right? Or might go back to this discussion. And that could be the end of things, because the judge might say, you know what, SEC, you better just settle up because you're not going to win this, or it's too risky to go for anything like that. And from that perspective, I'm thinking, yeah, maybe April, maybe one of these weeks, one of these months, it could be crazy. Yes, a 1-hour settlement discussion was happened a couple months ago. It didn't settle, which means there's most likely next settlement time will be at mediation, see arrow below, which will be hosted by one of the only judges, or Judge Nedberg, the one and only, who has seen all the documents in camera, XP community-friendly attorney said, Jeremy Hogan. She knows exactly what is in the emails, etc. If I'm correct that the SEC is the problem child here, that could make a big difference. A good mediator can really work miracles sometimes, Attorney Hogan said. So should both parties come to an agreement, there's a possibility that the case could end in settlement in April or May this year, said Jeremy Hogan. And that, guys, could be huge for the price, obviously, as I do think there still be, or will be, a pump. Right, and then a couple of parts were about the the whole Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, and I think I might actually have to make another separate video about it because I don't have enough time potentially in here to cover every single detail. So Ashko Blue, Ashish Burla, said a couple of things about the whole SWIFT system, but Brad Garlinghouse's words I think are most important. Ashko Blue lays out reality of crypto and blockchain's role, or the lack thereof, to evade global sanctions, right? The article stated, Ripple CEO gives reasons why Russia cannot use crypto to evade global sanctions, which, if you guys don't remember, is what a couple of parties like European Union, and a couple of US senators, I think as well, were saying that Russia might do with crypto, which was bad. I think, I don't remember her name, actually, but I saw it on Twitter earlier today, but I forgot to click it on, I guess. So Brad Garlinghouse says to clear any confusion, RippleNet, while being able to do much more than just messaging a la SWIFT, abides by international law and OFAC sanctions. Period. Full stop. Yeah, so that part, I would say, is about the fact that anybody can use RippleNet. Anybody can use crypto. But to go against sanctions, it's actually a really important thing to kind of think about here. If they were using RippleNet, they still couldn't get around the system. But, and this is again something I should add to it, I think crypto is one of the ways they could evade it, depending on how you view it. I mean, it's about the person receiving the money who actually has to, I guess, comply with this, right? What crypto has done for a good part is allow for anybody to manage their own money. But as we've seen with blacklisted accounts because of hackers and whatnot, we've also noticed they can really blacklist you from everything and make your life quite miserable. I guess a lot of exchanges can do that if they want to, or a lot of these trackers can try to halt it as much as possible. But there's the caveat. Any player can still always say, you know what, I'll accept these dirty Bitcoin, I'll accept these dirty XRPs because I don't care. And the critical part in that comes where we might keep putting the blame on the fact that Russia or Ukraine or whatever gets crypto so they can go about the sanctions. There's always a way, shape, or form. Let's say cash, for example, within their own country, or even gold for that matter. They could always go around the sanctions if they wanted to. It's all about the receiving end. But if there's a will, there's a way. And so I'm always thinking crypto just makes these things, quote unquote, easier, they say, but it also makes it easier for many people's actual lives, like we've seen in Ukraine, for example. So it's a double-edged sword. It is all up to the receiver of the money to say, I'm not doing that because it's not allowed, or because we agreed on that, or because it's unethical or something along those lines. And I think that should be the way as well. If they wanted to send the money somewhere, they'll find a way anyway. It's not a small little group of people. This is a freaking country we're talking about. You can talk about any sanctions you want. They'll fix it, I think, you know? I'm not too worried about the fact that they won't be able to get it done. So that's why I keep stating, I don't think the crypto part is the problem. But here he also just reiterates real quick that RippleNet is also abiding by the rules. You know, they're not really an anarchist type of system like that, which I think is a nice thing to read into for everybody. Then again, I didn't really expect them to be that way, so not really too worried about it. You can dive deeper into these things, by the way. I continue to asinine arguments from uninformed pundits of how crypto works. I want to reiterate what Ashko Blue said yesterday. There are factual reasons why crypto can't be used on the broad scale for Russia to evade sanctions. Let's check it out, right? You know what? Let me spend some time here. We're already 16 minutes in, but I'll spend some time purely on how important it is. My theory kind of goes against his for a little bit, and I definitely believe he is better at crypto than I am. So from that perspective, we'll definitely listen to what he has to say rather than my own opinion. All right, so here we go. I wanted to quickly make it load. Crypto exchanges are refusing calls to freeze Russian accounts. A Binance spokesperson said doing so would fly in the face of the reason why crypto exists. Kraken CEO said the move would violate Bitcoin's libertarian values. And again, what it talks about here is Binance said if they were to block Russian accounts, they'd block a lot of innocent people, which is true. And some people say tough. Crypto exchange will cease to exist if it does not comply, which is what a lot of people think. I don't think so, because, well, they can do whatever they want. They're the center of the newer world, so to speak. And let's quickly dive into the Ash tweet. All right, here we go again. In order to convert crypto to fiat, exchanges instead of rely on banking partners that could lose licenses if someone on the OFAC list is able to slip through. Extremely stringent KYC and AML policies in place to avoid precisely this. RippleNet, for example, has always been and remains today committed to not working with sanctioned banks or countries that are restricted counterparties. Ripple and their customers support and enforce OFAC laws and KYC/AML. Instead of listening to responsible players who have been clear they will abide by legal sanctions, some pundits and media insist on continuing to paint crypto as the Silk Road. Both an exceptionally outdated and tired argument, which simply doesn't hold true today. Rant over. And again, the conclusion we should draw from this is, as it currently stands, any exchange like Binance can say, well, we're not going to stop them from using it, but any bank that you might want to go, get your fiat transactions to might say, no, we don't want that. That's, again, the way I fetched it. Meaning, I don't think Binance is at blame, nor should they be, because all they're doing is helping to facilitate transfer of specific cryptocurrencies. And you might say, well, they're helping to transfer it to different accounts too. If the people just took their money off of that one, they could still send it to where they want. Binance is not to blame for that. It's only once you get to the fiat part that things are a little bit more strict and where the real rules apply. But again, maybe I'm interpreting Brad Garlinghouse's vision wrong. I just personally think crypto should always be able to be sent wherever the frick you want. It's not Silk Road in the sense that there's quite a lot of rules with onboarding and offboarding anyway. There's a lot of rules in that. And I guess at the end of the day, I just don't really mind whatever's happening in that sense, because there's a really big line between, or I guess really, how do you call it, like an intertwined line between the freedom of things and the, I don't want to say safety, but the control, I guess. Maybe that's literal off way or way off. Freedom of everybody doing whatever the freak they want without rules, because that's what crypto is kind of for from some perspective, and the control of having a system, having like an ecosystem where people can trust one another a little bit and actually do things, where if you're completely anarchy, a lot of things will never get done because you can't trust each other, and that's not what crypto was all about. It was just to replace some stuff. Having said that, interesting thread, interesting talk, interesting discussion. At the end of the day, I think these regulators are overdoing how heavy crypto is for evading all the sanctions, because at the end of the day, any person that wanted to accept crypto can still do that. Any bank, I guess, that really wants to go around the system will get messed up, but they really, theoretically speaking, could, because they could just accept cash if they really wanted to, because Russia most likely has a lot of it. They probably won't run out real quick, and so forth and so on. There's a ton of different ways to go about it. So crypto, I don't think is really that big of a problem.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.